There's something extraordinary about a woman who knows her worth. She doesn't chase attention, she commands respect. She doesn't just dream about a better life. She builds it piece by piece with quiet strength and unwavering grace. And you can always tell when you're in the presence of such a woman. Her energy feels different. Her silence speaks louder than words. Her choices are intentional because smart women, they don't move through life by accident. They follow rules. Not the kind written in a book, but the kind that shape destiny. Let's talk about them. The 7 rules smart women follow, not just to survive, follow, but to lead, to inspire, and to rise. Growth is not something that happens in the comfort zone. It doesn't bloom in the familiar, and it doesn't thrive where things are easy. Growth, real growth. The kind that transforms who you are comes from discomfort, from uncertainty, from the moments that make you question whether you can still stand tall after everything has fallen apart. The smartest women in the world don't fear those moments. They lean into them because they've learned that the most powerful version of themselves is always waiting on the other side of pain. Comfort feels safe. That's why it's so dangerous. It keeps you exactly where you are. It whispers in your ear, stay here, it's fine, while life quietly passes you by. Comfort convinces you that playing small is okay, that blending in is better than standing out, that silence is safer than speaking truth. But the truth is, comfort is a thief. It steals your potential while pretending to protect you. Smart women see through that illusion. They understand that every time they choose to stay comfortable, they are also choosing to stay the same. There comes a moment in every woman's life when she realizes that her growth will demand something she's not ready to give up. Maybe it's a relationship, a job, an old version of herself. That moment hurts. It feels unfair, uncomfortable, sometimes unbearable. But it's also sacred, because discomfort is the universe's way of saying you're ready for more. The pain you feel in those moments isn't punishment, it's transformation. It's life stretching you, breaking old patterns, and making room for something greater. Smart women don't run from that pain. They listen to it. They know discomfort is a teacher disguised as chaos. They ask, what is this trying to show me? What strength is this building inside me? They don't let fear dictate their decisions. Instead, they let faith guide their steps, even when the path is uncertain. They've learned that the only way to evolve is to keep moving, even when every step hurts. Because pain, when it becomes direction, it becomes proof that something inside you is shifting. The woman who chooses growth doesn't wait for permission. She doesn't need someone to tell her she's ready. She knows that readiness is a myth. Nobody ever feels ready to leave comfort behind. Nobody ever feels ready to rebuild their life, to face rejection, or to start over. But growth doesn't wait for readiness. It demands courage. Courage to take the first step when everything in you screams to turn back. Courage to face your fears, not because you're fearless, but because you've learned that fear loses its power when you walk straight through it. Growth is never glamorous. It's not soft music and motivational quotes. It's tears at midnight. It's questioning your worth. It's falling apart and still choosing to get up the next morning. Smart women understand that healing and growing are messy processes, but necessary ones. They give themselves permission to be works in progress. They don't chase perfection, they chase progress. And every time they rise after falling, they build a version of themselves that's wiser, tougher, and more unstoppable than before. You see, comfort is a place where dreams die quietly. But discomfort is where transformation lies. Smart women use discomfort like a compass. When something scares them, they lean toward it. They know fear often points in the direction of purpose. When they feel nervous before a decision, they don't interpret it as a warning. They interpret it as a sign that something meaningful is about to begin. Because they understand comfort protects your past, but discomfort builds your future. There's a certain kind of magic that happens when a woman stops fearing discomfort. She becomes untouchable because she's not afraid to lose anything anymore. She's already lost her fear. When you can stand in uncertainty and still say, I'm choosing growth, you become a force that can't be stopped. You stop depending on the world to validate you. You stop needing approval. You stop waiting for the right time. You start creating it. And that's when life begins to shift in your favor because you've shifted in yours. Growth is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering you were before the world told you who to be. It's about shedding the layers of fear, doubt, and limitation that never belonged to you in the first place. Smart women understand that evolution is not an event. It's a choice they make every day. They wake up and choose to do the hard thing. They choose to speak truth when silence would be easier. They choose to walk away when staying would be safer. They choose to love themselves even when it feels selfish. That's growth. It's uncomfortable, but it's pure freedom. The most successful women, the ones you admire, the ones who seem unshakable, they didn't get there because life was kind to them. They got there because they stopped seeking ease and started seeking evolution. They allowed the hard days to refine them, not define them. They learned to see every failure as feedback, every setback as redirection, every ending as the beginning of something they couldn't see yet. And that's what makes them powerful, their ability to turn pain into purpose. So if you find yourself in a season of discomfort, right? Now, understand this. You are not breaking down, you are breaking through. You are shedding old skin that no longer fits the woman you're becoming. Don't resist it. Don't rush at the discomfort, do its work. Let it carve you, shape you, and prepare you, because the woman you're becoming, she's going to thank you one day for not giving up when it hurt the most. Growth isn't meant to be comfortable. It's meant to be worth it. There's a quiet power that lives inside people who no longer crave attention. You can feel it when they walk into a room, not because they demand to be noticed, but because their presence feels complete. Smart women understand this secret. They've learned that energy is their true currency, and where they spend it determines the life they build. Attention may feed the ego for a moment, but energy feeds the soul for a lifetime. At some point, every woman discovers that chasing attention is like drinking salt water. It looks refreshing, it even satisfies a temporary thirst, but the more you consume, the emptier you become. The compliments, the constant need to be seen, it feels good until it doesn't. Until you realize that every time you reach outward for validation, you're quietly abandoning yourself. You start giving pieces of your peace to everyone who looks your way. Smart women stop that transaction the moment they recognize it. They trade the need to be noticed for the need to be aligned. Because energy doesn't lie. You can fake confidence for a while. You can pretend to have it all together, post perfect pictures, say the right things, but energy always tells the truth. People feel it before you speak. That's why smart women guard their energy like a sacred resource. They choose their company carefully, not out of arrogance, but they know that every conversation, every scroll, every late night distraction either deposits peace or drains it. It's not about ice, about elevation. When a woman begins to value her energy, she no longer chases noise. She listens for resonance. She no longer competes. She creates. The attention seekers run faster and faster, trying to keep up with a world that never slows down, while the wise ones move with intention, knowing that true magnetism comes from stillness, not spectacle. Energy is presence, the ability to be fully where you are without your mind scattered across 1,000 open tabs of worry. That's why peace feels so attractive. It's rare. Smart women cultivate it. They meditate, they journal, they unplug, not because it's trendy, but because they understand that peace is productivity. When your inner world is in order, the outer world aligns itself. There's something irresistibly powerful about a woman who no longer seeks to impress. She doesn't announce her worth. She embodies it. You can hear it in her boundaries, feel it in her calm. She doesn't rush to respond, doesn't overshare, doesn't beg to be understood. She knows her energy will speak louder than any explanation ever could. People will test her. They'll wonder why she's suddenly distant, why she no longer participates in every conversation, why she chooses solitude over noise. But she's not cold, she's conserving. Because energy, once wasted on convincing others, is now invested in becoming. She's building herself quietly. And that's why everything around her starts shifting: her opportunities, her relationships, her clarity. Attention is external, energy is internal, energy is owned. When you stop trying to be everywhere, you finally arrive where you're meant to be. Smart women stop performing for an audience that doesn't even care and start performing for the future version of themselves who does. Every decision becomes a declaration: does this give me energy or take it away? That single question becomes her compass. She no longer says yes out of guilt. She no longer answers calls that drain her spirit. She no longer entertains conversations that go nowhere, because she understands that every yes to something meaningless is a no to something sacred. Protecting her energy is no longer selfish, it's survival. And something extraordinary happens when she makes that shift. The world begins to respond differently. The same people who once overlooked her now feel drawn to her. Not because she's lighter, but because she's lighter. Not because she's trying harder, but because she's trying less. When your energy is right, opportunities find you. People sense it, even if they can't explain it. You become magnetic, not through manipulation, but through authenticity. There's a quiet confidence that grows when you stop chasing attention. You start trusting that what is meant for you will recognize you, even in silence. You stop fighting for space in places that were never meant to hold you. You stop explaining your worth to people committed to misunderstanding you. Instead, you direct that same energy inward, into learning, healing, creating, and loving with intention. The world teaches us to be visible, to stand out, to promote, to perform. But the truth is, visibility without vitality is emptiness. Smart women know that being seen means nothing if you're not centered. So they build their foundation before they build their following. They take time to understand who they are before trying to convince anyone else. That's why when they finally step into the spotlight, they're unshakable, because they didn't come there seeking validation. They came there with value. Energy is influence. It's the invisible force that makes people remember you long after you've left the room. It's why some women can walk quietly through, leave ripples wherever they go. They don't have to demand respect. Their presence commands it naturally. And that presence was built in the silence of self-respect. in the small daily choices that say, I am enough. Even when no one is watching, attention fades, but energy compounds. Every time you invest in peace over chaos, discipline over distraction, purpose over popularity, you multiply your strength. Smart women don't chase the light, they become it. And when you become light, the world can't help but notice. Not because you scream for attention, but because you radiated authenticity. So when life tempts you to perform, to prove, to please, knows. Remember the energy music. Choose the rhythm that feeds your soul. The applause will fade, but the peace will stay. And that peace, that radiant, grounded energy is what truly makes a woman unforgettable. There comes a time in every woman's life when she finally understands that what's meant for her doesn't have to be chased, it has to be matched. The right things don't run from you, they recognize you. And the moment a woman stops running after what isn't hers, she begins walking toward what is. Smart women have learned this. They know that chasing is rooted in fear, but attracting is rooted in power. When you chase something, you declare that it's ahead of you. You tell the universe that you're not enough until you have it. You send out the energy of lack, of needing, wanting, waiting. But when you attract, you send out certainty. You radiate calm. You become the source you're. You won't seek validation, you embody value. You don't beg to be chosen, you know you already are. By purpose, by alignment, by your own becoming. The women who attract instead of chase are not lazy or detached. They're intentional. They've simply learned that energy moves in circles. What you send out comes back. So they stopped running after people who can't see their worth. They stopped explaining their worth to those committed to misunderstanding it. They stopped auditioning for roles they were born to lead. Instead, they focused on becoming the woman who doesn't wait for the right moment, but creates it through her energy, focus, and vision. Attracting doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing the right things from the right energy. It means waking up with clarity instead of chaos. It means choosing peace over panic. It means aligning your actions with your values so deeply that everything misaligned naturally falls away. Smart women understand that when you know who you are, you stop chasing what isn't for you. You stop negotiating your worth for temporary comfort. You stop settling for attention when you deserve devotion. There's a reason people are drawn to those who are grounded. You can feel it, the calm, the confidence, the quiet self-assurance that says, I'm not going anywhere and I don't need to. Smart women carry that energy because they've learned how to fill their own cup first. They don't beg to be understood because they understand themselves. They don't chase love because they already live in it. Love for their own growth, their own stillness, their own truth. When you chase, you lose balance. You pour your energy into trying to convince, to fix, to prove. But when you attract, you stay rooted. You move with the energy of someone who knows she's the prize, not the pursuer. You understand that what is meant for you will never require you to lose yourself to keep it. And that changes everything. Smart women no longer beg for reciprocity, they align with it. They no longer fight for closure, they create it. They no longer chase people, they attract experiences. Because when your energy shifts from needing to knowing, the world shifts with you. The phone calls come, the opportunities appear, the right people stay. Not because you ran after them, but because you finally stopped running from yourself. There's a sacred kind of confidence in a woman who trusts divine timing. She doesn't panic when things don't happen fast enough. She doesn't compare her journey to anyone else's. She's patient, not passive. She's waiting, but she's working. Every day, she's building herself quietly, refining her habits, sharpening her mind, softening her heart. She understands that when she becomes what she seeks, she naturally attracts it. You can't want peace and live in chaos. You can't want love and act from fear. You can't want success while constantly doubting your worth. Attraction begins with alignment. Smart women don't chase what looks good. They attract what feels right. They know how to listen to their intuition, that subtle whisper that says, this is for you, or this will drain you. And when they feel misalignment, they walk away not in anger, but in grace, because they understand that chasing things that don't align is just a way of delaying the things that do. You can tell when a woman has made that shift. There's a piece about her that can't be faked. She's not rushing, not proving, not performing. She doesn't need to be the loudest in the room. Her silence speaks. Her energy does the talking. And somehow everything she needs starts finding her, opportunities, connections, moments of magic. Not because she's lucky, but because she's ready, because she's aligned, because she finally stopped chasing what was never meant to be caught. The world often tells women to hustle harder, to chase success, to pursue love as if it's slipping away. Smart women have learned to do the opposite. They slow down. They build foundations, not facades. They understand that attraction isn't about controls. It's about surrender. It's about trusting that when you do the inner work, the outer world will mirror it back. Chasing comes from scarcity. Attracting comes from self-trust. The more you trust yourself, the less you chase. Because you know, even if something doesn't come, you'll still be whole. Even if someone leaves, you'll still be enough. Even if a door closes, another will open, because you are not meant to beg for what belongs to you. You are meant to receive it when you become ready for it. The women who attract understand that peace is power. They nurture it. They let go of what drains it. They don't need to convince anyone of their value. They demonstrate it quietly. Their presence becomes their introduction, and their energy becomes their reputation. They don't force outcomes. They flow toward them. And when people ask how they seem so lucky, how everything just seems to align, they smile. Luck. It's discipline. It's self-respect. It's the courage to stop running after everything and start believing that what's meant for them will never need to be chased. Because once you stop chasing, you stop losing yourself. You stop grasping for things that crumble under pressure. You stop settling for half love, half effort, half truth. You begin to attract whole things, whole people, whole opportunities, whole peace. And that's when life changes. Not because you forced it, but because you finally remembered your worth. There's a moment every strong woman remembers, that quiet, trembling second when she finally realizes she doesn't have to stay. She doesn't have to keep proving her loyalty to people who doubt her worth. She doesn't have to keep fighting for a place in someone else's story. She doesn't have to keep explaining why her peace matters. That moment, though small and invisible to the world, marks the birth of a new version of her, the woman who knows when to walk away. It's not an easy lesson. It's not loud or dramatic. Walking away rarely looks like power in the beginning. It looks like tears on the floor, long silences, unanswered questions. It feels like heartbreak and guilt wrapped in courage. But deep down, something inside her whispers, this is not where you belong anymore. And that whisper becomes her compass. Smart women listen to it. They know that staying where they are no longer respected is far more painful than walking alone toward peace. The world often romanticizes endurance. Stay longer, try harder, forgive again. But sometimes the bravest thing you can do is leave, not in anger, but in understanding. Not because you stopped caring, but because you finally started caring about yourself. A smart woman knows that not every battle is worth fighting, not every bond is meant to last, and not every ending is a failure. Sometimes endings are protection. Sometimes they are the universe's way of clearing space for what truly aligns. Walking away doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing yourself when no one else will. It means realizing that closure does come in the form of explanations. Sometimes closure is the quiet acceptance that the version of you who tolerated that situation no longer exists. Sometimes closure is simply peace, the kind that doesn't need to be understood by anyone else. There's a certain kind of grace in a woman who can say, I love you, but I love me more. Who can walk away, not because she's bitter, but because she refuses to beg for the bare minimum. She's done performing for people who can't see her light. She's done shrinking herself to fit into spaces that were never meant for her. And she's done confusing attachment with loyalty. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. Smart women learn that silence is often the loudest goodbye. They don't slam doors or start wars. They leave quietly with dignity because they've learned that explaining themselves to the wrong people is energy wasted. You can't teach someone to value by staying where you're undervalued. You teach them by disappearing. You teach them by reclaiming your time, your peace, your focus. You teach them that your presence was a privilege, not a guarantee. And yes, it hurts. Growth always does. Walking away often feels like betrayal, but it's not betrayal of others, it's the end of betraying yourself. It's the moment you finally choose truth over illusion. It's realizing that staying out of fear of being alone is far lonelier than walking into solitude with self-respect. Smart women understand that peace costs something. It costs approval, it costs familiarity, but it's worth every ounce of that price. You can see it in the way she carries herself after she leaves. There's an air of freedom around her, something unexplainable but undeniable. The same eyes that once looked for validation now see with clarity. The same heart that once begged to be chosen now beats in rhythm with self-worth. That's the transformation walking away creates. It doesn't just remove you from what's toxic, it reconnects you to what's true. She learns that walking away is not about who she's leaving behind, it's about who she's becoming next. It's about creating space for something purer. The kind of peace that doesn't ask you to compromise. When she stops chasing what doesn't serve her, she begins attracting what does. When she stops explaining why she deserves better, she starts embodying it, and that quiet confidence becomes magnetic. The truth is, a woman who knows when to walk away becomes unstoppable because she's no longer ruled by fear, not the fear of losing people, not the fear of starting over, not even the fear of being misunderstood. She's learned that she'd rather disappoint others than can continue doing herself. That she'd rather be alone in peace than surrounded by people who make her feel invisible. That she'd rather let go than hold on to something that keeps breaking her spirit. You can't manipulate a woman who's not afraid to walk away. You can't control someone who's made peace with distance. That's her power, detachment. Not coldness, not coldness, not bitterness, but promising that she doesn't fight for what's already meant for her. She knows love should never be a battlefield, and respect should never need to be begged for. Smart women stop running after closure because they realize that peace is closure. They stop waiting for apologies because they learn to forgive themselves first. for ignoring red flags, for trying too hard, for staying too long. They stop blaming others for not seeing their worth because they understand that it's not anyone else's job to recognize what they refuse to forget about themselves. And when she walks away, the world notices. Not because she makes noise, but because her absence speaks louder than her presence ever did. The people who took her for granted start to feel the silence where her energy once filled the room. The opportunities that passed her by now seek her out because she's no longer chasing. She's aligned. That's the beauty of walking away. It doesn't close your story. It clears the path for a new one. There's strength in her softness, wisdom in her silence, and power in her peace. She no longer begs for loyalty. She embodies it. She no longer craves understanding. She becomes it. She no longer holds on to what hurts. She releases it with gratitude. Because she knows every time she walks away from what drains her, she walks closer to what was always waiting for her: freedom, clarity, and the kind of peace that can't be bought. Walking away isn't losing. It's winning quietly. It's reclaiming yourself one step at a time. It's saying, I deserve more, and then actually meaning it. It's not the end of love. It's the beginning of self-respect. And that is where real strength begins. So here you are, standing at the intersection between who you were and who you're becoming. You've learned that growth demands discomfort, that your energy is sacred, that chasing is weakness disguised as effort. And that walking away is not losing, it's evolving. You've learned that peace is not something you find out there. It's something you create in here. Every smart woman you've ever admired didn't start by having it all figured out. She started by deciding she was worth more than what she was settling for. She stopped talking about change and started being the change. And that's where everything shifted. The truth is, no one is coming to hand you your peace. No one is going to give you permission to grow, to rest, to rebuild, or to rise. You have to claim it. You have to decide that your energy is too valuable to waste, your purpose too important to ignore, and your time too short to spend proving your worth to people who can't see it. So walk differently from today. Protect your energy like it's gold. Build your dreams quietly and let your results speak loudly. Stop chasing what drains you and start becoming what inspires you. Choose yourself again and again until it no longer feels like a rebellion, but a rhythm. And when you feel tired, when the world tells you to stay small, remember this. Smart women don't wait for the word to recognize their value. They show it through the way they live, the peace they protect, and the boundaries they refuse to break. This is your moment to rise. No, not when you feel more ready now. So take a deep breath, step forward with quiet power, and tell yourself out loud if you're no longer chasing, I am attracting, I am growing, I am enough. Now go out there and live like the woman you were always meant to become.